Now that we know a live-action Aegon the Conqueror prequel show is in development, though not greenlit yet, I've been seeing some just, horrible fan castings for the first Targaryen king, so I wanted to add my own horrible fan castings for Aegon the Conqueror. So let's flash back real quick to my actors that shouldn't play Aegon the Conqueror video for how Aegon should look before going into my picks. So first, let's get a quote from the man himself, George R. R. Martin, about how Aegon should look. So George said this on the first Targaryen king. Aegon the Conqueror, the prototypical Targaryen, a warrior, tall, powerful, broad-shouldered, very charismatic and commanding. Should be shown in his battle armor, perhaps a shirt of black scales, greaves, gauntlets, a flowing cloak, his sword in hand, Blackfire, a Valyrian steel blade, his hair cut short, no longer than the bottom of his ears. His crown is a simple circle of Valyrian steel set with big, square-cut rubies. Besides this quote, George further explained through interviews and of course his lore books, World of Ice and Fire and Fire and Blood Volume 1, that Aegon is an enigma. He's a solitary person whose only friend was his maybe half-bastard brother Orys. Harsh to those that crossed him, but generous with those that submitted. A great warrior, but never entered tourneys. A faithful husband that left the running of the realm to his wives, and he only kind of interjected himself into things when it was necessary. Now, what I find interesting is Aegon the Conqueror's mother was actually a Velaryon. She was from House Velaryon, and in the show, they now have dark skin. So does this mean we'll see an Aegon closer to what we saw with Laenor and Laena? Now, if they didn't want to go that route and explain why Aegon is super white, they could just say, in lore, Corlys Velaryon's father married an unknown woman, so we don't know if she actually had dark skin. Maybe she was a Summer Islander. We don't know. So maybe the Velaryons were always white, because if you look at J. He has a Velaryon mother, and he is very, very white. Maybe just Corlys Velaryon's father married someone with darker skin, and that's why we see them with darker skin in the show. I don't know, maybe they'll come out and say that. If we get the Sea Snake animated series, I'm sure we'll be able to see his mom, and that would be really cool if they explain it that way. Regardless, because of that possibility, I'm going to include a few actors that could pull off Aegon that have a mixed ethnic background, just in case they decide to do it. Honestly, just pick the best actor for the role. Okay, so let's talk about who I think could pull off Aegon. First, Aaron Taylor Johnson would be a decent pick, but probably too expensive to get. He can pull off the platinum hair, he has a range to play a badass warrior, but also a somber man that keeps to himself and calls few his friends, and I think he could disappear in the role. I've never been disappointed by his acting in the past, but I guess that's for movies, and I haven't really watched him in television series. Callum Turner would make a really, really good Aegon. I think he has the face, body, and also the skill as an actor to pull off the Conqueror. Also, there's something about his face that I think could work for the enigma that Aegon was. Speaking of unique faces to pull off Aegon, and being built a bit different than most, Will Poulter has that look combined with acting ability and physicality that I think would be amazing for Aegon. Oh my gosh, the guy is now huge after packing on muscle for his Marvel role as well. Will is good at subtle body language to express his character and what they're thinking, and with a quieter man like Aegon, that would be a huge asset. I'm going to throw in Harry Goodwin's. He's new into acting, he started as a model, but he does give off Aegon the Conqueror vibes. Given his limited acting, hard to say if he could pull off the Targaryen king, but given Aegon was more reserved and serious, I don't think it'd be too hard for Harry to act. 𝑒ꞌlmero is a dream casting for real. He has everything the Targaryens need, but he also has this mysterious, dangerous edge to his look. I think his general vibe could help with Aegon being more reserved. He's also an actor that can escalate things quickly. On the other end, I think Michael Evans Bayling gives off more of the demeanor of a dreamer prophecy look, like Helaena. He ticks off all the other boxes for the role, though maybe has too much of a kind face. Alexander Ludwig is in the Viking show, and my god, I can see him playing the Conqueror so easily. He has everything that would make him a fantastic pick, and given he has quite a bit of weapon training already, it wouldn't be difficult for him to pull off the fantastic warrior. I mean, we know actors in Game of Thrones only got believable with swords after they went and did a side movie where they had weapons training, and then came back to the show and looked, decent. Having extensive experience before is a huge asset. Callahan Wade Skogman. This guy is huge. You want the tall part of Aegon, you got him here. I just think he has the general aesthetics and acting that could play a great conqueror. Sam Cleflin is borderline too old to play Aegon, and unless they started soon, he might be way too old when filming starts. However, the guy can pull off platinum hair, he has the looks and acting ability, and is comfortable wielding weapons in scenes. How he's aged also gives him more of a mysterious dreamer part of Aegon. Regé-Jean Page is my last pick, and one of my favorites. Seeing him in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, it just cemented it for me. Besides all the normal boxes that he ticks off, he has demonstrated he can play a slightly off character that people don't really get but respect the hell out of. I know he'd never do it, but if HBO could pay him enough to play the part, I would be in heaven. So those are my ideas on who would work as Aegon the Conqueror in a live-action series. What are yours?